So today I want to try and stretch your mind, stretch your concept of God. So the question that we're kind of looking at today is this. It's, how big is your God? And I think we will all acknowledge that we can't fathom God, that no matter how big you try to imagine God, he's probably bigger than that. Job 36, verse 26 says, "How great is God beyond our understanding. The number of his years is past finding out." So we know that we can't comprehend God. We know that he's way beyond our imagination. And yet I think we forget that sometimes. If God were as big as this whole front stage, let's say that's how big God is, I think our comprehension, our understanding of God is about as big as that circle. So picture the whole stage as God, and this is what we know about God. I think we know so little because our brain can't understand, can't fathom who God is. Now, I want to tell you one of my pet peeves is that is, I believe, how much we understand about God. And yet, when we meet someone whose understanding of God is just a wee bit different from ours, we argue with them. You say, well, you're wrong. I'm right. I know God, and this is God, not this little smidgen different. We get very passionate about what we're sure about God, and if your idea of God is just a little bit different, no, you must be wrong. You must be wrong. And I get annoyed with that. And when I was a young man, I did the same thing. I read the Bible and interpreted it, and I was sure I was right, and I got into these arguments, and I was passionate about it. And then as you get older, people you really respect come up with different opinions than you, and you think, I'm reading my Bible, and I'm thinking, what are they seeing that I'm not? And then I've changed my mind about a few things, and I'm reading the Bible, and I'm like, oh, I never quite saw it that way before. And so suddenly I'm changing my mind. I'm seeing people that I respect having different opinions, and I'm like, maybe there's more to this stuff. And I see people arguing about things that I know they cannot know. One of my favorite things is the whole Revelation thing. And whether you're premillennial or postmillennial, I don't know. And, some really respected, good biblical studies people have come up with one opinion, and other really good biblical scholars have come up with different opinion. And when that happens, I say, maybe it's something we just aren't supposed to know. Maybe it's just something that, I know that Christ will return, and Christ told us when he was here that it would be like a thief in the night. And that's maybe all we need to know, that we just need to be ready all the time. So maybe there's just some things we just leave alone. I want to give you an image of what I think people arguing about God is a little bit like. And what was the biggest kind of dinosaur?
The only one, the biggest kind I ever heard of is the Patasaurus.
Patasaurus. Is he bigger than a Brontosaurus?
Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus means the same thing.
Oh, I see. I see.
Brontosaurus, which can also be called Apatosaurus, you could get mixed up with Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus because they look a lot alike. But the difference between them...
Yeah, the difference between them, Brian, is...
The difference between them is Diplodocus is longer, and Brachiosaurus has a bump on his head, and Bronto doesn't.
I see. What kind of dinosaur is a nice dinosaur?
Apatosaurus.
Apatosaurus is a nice dinosaur?
And Bronto.
And Bronto?
Bronto is the same thing as Apatosaurus. Apatosaurus? No. No. So...
What's the difference between Apatosaurus and Brontosaurus?
Well, Apatosaurus is orange, yellow, and Bronto is yellow and blue stripes through.
The Apatosaurus is yellow with blue stripes through. And the thing is that those two kids are not experts on paleontology, are they? They've read some kids' books on dinosaurs, and now they know. And so those kids arguing about dinosaurs is pretty much exactly the same thing as theologians arguing about God. When you hear people starting to argue about their ideas about God, think about that video, because they're the same thing. They're arguing about something that they have a little bit of knowledge about, but there's so much more to know. And so, I get a little worked up about that sometimes. I think we need to approach God in humility and say, we don't know a lot of stuff.